Hi, I'm Xenowave, and today I'm going to talk about scales and modes. A scale is a set of ordered notes which starts on one octave and ends on another octave of the same note. Each scale has their own unique interval pattern or formula, which defines the type of scale that it is. A key or key signature lets you know what note to start that scale on. So when we say a song is in the key of B major, we use the major scale formula starting on B. So before we get into that, I just want to demonstrate different types of scales. They're all going to be in C. So here's a major scale. Here's a major pentatonic scale. Here's a minor pentatonic scale. Here's the insen scale. Here's the augmented scale. Keep in mind that a scale doesn't have to be just one octave. It can span multiple octaves if you so please. So as you can see, there are different types of scales, but for this video we will just go over the major scale and its properties, such as the intervals that make up a major scale and its modes. So what defines the major scale are the intervals that make up the scale. I have the formula written down over here, and keep in mind that H stands for half step, which is one semitone, and W stands for whole step, which is two semitones. And don't forget that semitone means the nearest note on the keyboard. Let's say I want to find E major. So I will start on E, and from here I will go up a whole step, and then go up another whole step, and then a half step, and then a whole step, and then another whole step, then another whole step, and then another half step. And there's my E major scale. This is the formula for every major scale. It's based off the intervals. So here's D major. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. It's all about the relationship between notes. Another important thing to note is the number system in scale degrees, which lets us know what notes of the scale are being played. If we pick a scale like C major, we assign accordingly. The first note is 1, the second note is 2, third note is 3, and so on. You get the idea. So we just, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we can write this down. And the way we notate it is just write down the numbers. So if I want to notate Mary Had a Little Lamb, for example, I would just do this. I have Mary Had a Little Lamb written out in this notation, and all we have to do now is play the scale degrees accordingly. And this works for any key because it's just ambiguous enough. It can apply to anything. So let's pick F sharp, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we just have 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. Just like that. And this works for any melody. Another important thing to note actually is the idea of intervals in a key, also known as diatonic intervals. So if you remember in the last video, we said things like minor second or major seventh, minor seventh. Like they still apply to scales, but basically a shorthand way of describing intervals is to just keep it diatonic. So if we have C major, again, all we have to say now, if I want the 1, 3, and 5, all I have to say is 1, 3, 5, which is just first note of the scale, third note of the scale, fifth note of the scale, or sixth note of the scale. I don't need to say like, oh, this is a major 6 anymore. It's true. It's still true. Don't get me wrong, but it's way easier to communicate between musicians when talking about this sort of thing. Or if we do want to go out of the scale, out of key, then we would have to start saying sharps and flats. So if we're in C major, but I want this note, if I want that G sharp, then I would just say that's just a sharp fifth, because we already established that we are in the key of C major. So along with the numbers, each scale degree has a title which serves great purpose in songwriting. And we have 1, which is the tonic, 2, which is the supertonic, 3, which is the mediant, 4, which is the subdominant, 5, which is the dominant, 6, which is the submediant, and 7, which is the leading tone. So I won't go too deep into these in this video, but I will in the future, especially when talking about chords or writing melodies. But these are important to note. Let's do this. I bet you want me to play that next note. Alright, yeah. I bet that was a bit satisfying. Yeah, that's how it works, basically. These scale degrees have to do with the idea of tension and release, which basically lets musicians write music the same way a writer would write their story, using rising accent, climax, falling accent, etc. So let's talk about modes. A mode of a scale is just that scale being played from a scale degree, a certain scale degree. So if I want the third mode of C major, I would play C major, the same notes of C major, starting from E. So it would sound like this. That's the third mode of C major. So 1, 2, 3, and then you just play it. And that's really the pattern. So if I want to play the fifth mode of C major, I would, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then just play all the white keys. And I have a different mode of C major, the fifth mode. I have them all written out in order. So Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. And I'm just gonna play them all out one by one. So here's the first mode of the major scale. That's just the major scale. It's just a major scale because you're starting from 1. It's called Ionian. That's the Dorian mode, which is just the major scale played from the 2nd to the 2nd. Here's Phrygian mode, which is just the scale played from the 3rd. Here's the Lydian mode, which is just the scale played from the 4th note. Here's Mixolydian mode, which is the scale played from the 5th note. Here's Aeolian mode, which is just the scale played from the 6th. And here's Locrian mode, which is just the scale played from the 7th. Each mode has their own sound, as you may have heard. I will go deeper into these individually in the future, but I just wanted to let you know that this is the concept of modes. And definitely listen to all these songs to get an idea of what these modes feel like. One more thing to note about modes is that, well, if you have the formula for every major scale, you can start playing all 7 modes in any key. Now, the formula to basically finding any mode is to remember this, for one. This is the order in which the modes are. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. So, okay, for example, if I want to find a Locrian, I would have to ask, okay, which major scale has A as the 7th? And from there, I already know it's B flat major. You need to be familiar with all your major scales first in order for this to really, really click, but I still want to let you know. So I know that A is the 7th of B flat major. So let's just play B flat major first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I just play B flat major starting from A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another example, if I want to find F sharp Dorian, again I need to ask myself, what is F sharp the 2nd of in a major scale? So I know that F sharp is the 2nd of E major, so I just play E major starting from F sharp. But first, let's just establish E major. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now let's play it starting from the 2nd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I have F sharp Dorian. Okay, so for this last part of the video, I'm just going to play these melodies, and I want you to write them out in either solfege, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do notation, or using the scale degree number system that we talked about earlier. So this melody is in E major, so I'm just going to establish that real quick. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, and here's 8. I have the first 2 measures of the melody written out, so 3, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, or mi, mi, fa, mi, re, do. And I'm going to play it first with the keyboard, and then I'm going to play the melody showing just the piano roll. Here's the melody. Okay, and here it is with the piano roll. Okay, so for the second melody, we're in C major, so let's establish that first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, I have the first two measures written out. So the first measure is just a pickup measure, and then the second measure is just two notes. So 4, 3, 4, 3, 2, or fa, mi, re, and you figure out the rest. Whoever gets both of these melodies, either or in solfege or using the numbers, will have the comment pinned. Alright, so here is the second melody. Alright, and here's the melody with the piano roll. Alright, so that's the video. I hope you learned a lot. If you have any questions, please let me know, and have an awesome day.